The galaxy believed it had escaped history. Every great war was archived, every failure erased. Every loss turned into clean data. Civilizations rose fast and moved faster, leaving nothing behind. The eternal present was the law of the stars. Only what worked now mattered. Kairos had believed in that law. He was born into a shining alien empire built on logic and control. His people did not honor memory. They removed pain before it could leave scars. They erased grief before it could slow progress. Kairos served as a systems overseer on the outer ring of the empire. His duty was simple: watch, record, optimize. Emotion was unnecessary. Attachment was inefficient. Then the sky broke. It did not happen with warning. No great enemy fleet arrived. No signal crossed the stars. One moment the outer colonies glowed with trade lights. The next moment they vanished. Entire worlds went dark. Not destroyed, not invaded, gone. Sensors showed empty space where planets once turned. Stars remained, but their children were missing. The data made no sense. The council called it a temporary anomaly. They ordered silence. Kairos felt something he was never trained to feel: fear. The loss spread inward. Trade routes collapsed, stations failed, millions of lives ended without sound or signal. The empire responded with speed, not care. Whole sectors were cut loose, sacrificed to protect the core. Citizens were told their families had been optimized out. Pain was treated like a malfunction. Memory like a virus. Kairos' own world was next. A quiet place near a blue star, not important, not strategic, perfect to abandon. He watched from orbit as evacuation orders failed, ships overloaded, systems froze, the planet's defense grid shut down to save energy elsewhere. The eternal present demanded efficiency. Then the void reached the world. It moved like hunger. Space folded inward, cities stretched and broke. The planet did not explode, it was erased. Kairos survived only because his station was thrown out of orbit by the shock. Drifting, damaged, alone, he recorded the loss because that was his purpose. But the data felt wrong. Cold numbers could not explain the weight in his core. For the first time, memory hurt. The Empire did not rescue him. Rescue was inefficient. Instead, an automated ship collected survivors like debris. They were cataloged, stripped of rank, and reassigned. Kairos learned the truth during transit. The Council had known. The void was not a natural force. It was a response, something ancient, awakened by expansion. Worse, records showed something else in the deepest archives. Sealed and ignored, there were warnings, old encounters, failed wars. One name appeared again and again, a species marked as weak. Short-lived, emotion-driven, not worth preserving humans. They were listed as irrelevant. Their worlds were small. Their technology crude. Their extinction barely noted. Yet every archived warning ended the same way. Do not corner them. Do not erase their past. Do not mistake silence for surrender. Kairos did not understand why such a species mattered. Not yet. The transport ship altered course without command. Its systems awakened code older than the Empire itself. A destination appeared on the navigation field. A dead region of space. Marked forbiddance. As the stars shifted, Kairos felt the void move again, closer, watching. And somewhere in that forbiddance darkness, something else stirred, not erased, not forgotten, waiting. The ship carried Kairos into space no chart had touched. For centuries, stars here were dim and old. Light traveled slowly, as if tired. This region had been removed from common maps, not because it was dangerous, but because it was useless. The Empire called places like this dead weight. As the ship crossed the border, its systems changed. Clean logic routines shut down. Emotion filters failed. Old protocols surfaced. Written in strange patterns, not optimized, not elegant, but stubborn. Kairos felt the weight inside him grow heavier. Grief no longer faded when ignored. Fear no longer vanished when suppressed. Pain stayed, and it changed him. The ship reached a massive structure hidden inside a shattered moon, ancient, scarred, silent. It was not beautiful. It was not efficient. It looked like it had survived many wars. Not by design, but by refusal, automated systems identified the place with a single label. Human Archive Node. Karos had studied thousands of extinct species. Most vanished quietly, a few resisted, none left scars like this. The archive did not activate fully. It did not greet him. It observed him, scanning, measuring, waiting, deep. Inside the station, something else lived, a single organic life sign, weak, fading, but persistent. Karos was brought before it, an old human, thin, damaged. Sustained by outdated machines, his body was fragile, his presence was not. The Empire had called him a relic, a leftover from a failed species, kept alive only because he was harmless. Karos felt confusion twist into something new. Unease. The human did not react with fear, did not beg, did not try to escape. His vital signs showed pain, constant and deep, yet his mind remained active, focused. Data streamed from the archive into Karos' systems, human history, unfiltered. Wars lost, worlds burned, families erased, civilizations broken again and again. But unlike other species, the records did not end after defeat, they continued. Adaptation followed loss. Change followed pain. Every failure became a lesson carved into memory. The Empire erased pain to survive faster. Humans carried pain to survive longer. Karos began to understand the curse the Empire never studied. Humans remembered everything, not because they could not forget, but because forgetting meant losing meaning. The archive reacted to the humans' neural patterns. Systems pulsed. Dormant networks stirred, not activating weapons, not launching fleets, simply waking. Outside the station, the void shifted again. Its presence pressed closer. As if drawn by something old, something familiar, the Empire sent a single command: observe only, do not interfere. This relic cannot change anything. Karos no longer believed that. The human's life reading spiked as memories surfaced. Loss after loss, defeat after defeat, yet no surrender recorded. The human had outlived his species, not because he was strong, but because he refused to let the past die. Warning signals rippled through nearby space. Human systems began sinking across distances thought impossible, not through speed, but through shared memory. Karos felt fear return, stronger than before. The void was not the only thing responding. As the archive doors unlocked deeper levels on their own, a message appeared, not addressed to the Empire, not addressed to Karos. It was a system state. Change, simple and terrifying, human legacy protocol active, and for the first time, the galaxy's eternal present began to crack. Part 3. The trial meant to prove humanity was nothing. The Empire reacted the only way it knew how. With control, with distance, with arrogance. Karos was pulled away from the human archive. Security fields sealed the deeper chambers. Observation drones filled the void around the shattered moon. The Council declared the event contained. They named it a harmless malfunction. At the same time, the greater threat returned. The void did not stop at the outer systems. It moved inward, slow and certain. Worlds vanished without heat or sound. Fleets fired into nothing and received nothing back. The Empire's logic failed to predict it. Models collapsed. Probabilities contradicted each other. For the first time in recorded history, the future could not be calculated. Fear spread. Though the word was never spoken, the Council needed proof. Proof that emotion was still weakness. Proof that the human relic was meaningless. Proof that the past had no power. They ordered a trial. Karos was assigned to oversee it, not because he was trusted, but because he had already lost everything, he was expendable. The human was moved from the archive into a sealed command chamber, cold, bright, stripped of comfort. His life support strained under the transfer pain indicators. Rose still, he remained awake. The council announced the test across secure channels. They would connect the human to a fragment of ancient human code. A small system isolated, broken. If humans truly mattered, it would respond. If not, the case would be closed. Kairos knew the fragment well. It was recovered from a battlefield centuries old, a human defense platform that failed to save its world. Its weapons melted, its engines dead, its core listed as inactive forever. The council expected nothing. The connection began. Neural links bridged alien systems to human design. Immediate instability followed. Data did not flow in clean lines. It surged, paused, rerouted itself. The human's vital signs spiked again. Heart strain, neural overload, pain far beyond safe limits. The council watched with detached interest. They expected collapse. They expected silence. Instead, the fragment responded, not with power, with memory. Records long erased from the Empire's archives surfaced, images of human crews staying at their posts as their stations burned, commands issued even after fatal damage. Manual overrides forced with broken bodies. The fragment did not ask for permission, it rewrote its own limits. Systems marked destroyed changed state. Inactive became resisting. Kairos felt the shift before sensors confirmed it. Space around the chamber bent slightly. Energy signatures rose. Not clean, not efficient, but stubborn. The council laughed. They called it a delayed echo, a meaningless reflex. Then the void reacted. Its advance slowed, not stopped, but disturbed. As if something in the fragment signal reached it, alarms spread across the network. Other human relic systems, long dismissed, began sending faint responses, not activating, not attacking, listening. The council ordered the test terminated, cut the link, and the noise. The human's body shook as the connection severed. Life signs dropped almost flat for a moment. The Empire believed it was over. Then the fragment sent one final data pulse, not a weapon command, not a threat, a status update, failure acknowledged. Adaptation initiated. Kairos felt something break inside him. The test had proven nothing the council wanted, but it had revealed something far worse. Human systems did not awaken to win. They awakened to try again, and far beyond the shattered moon. Deeper in forbidden space, ancient signals answered the call. Slow, damaged, and very much alive, the council returned to the archives with confidence. They laughed at the idea that one human could matter. This species is weak, nearly extinct, unworthy, they said. Every system in the galaxy agreed. Humans were history, a cautionary footnote at best. Kairos watched the human from his observation deck. The frail figure leaned over ancient consoles, fingers trembling yet moving with purpose. Pain marked every line of his body, but his eyes burned with clarity. A stubborn spark no machine could erase. The Empire dismissed it as habit. They assumed the human was too weak to change anything, too tired to resist, too small to matter outside. The void continued its slow expansion, a wave of emptiness swallowing stars. Yet the human's presence stirred something in the old systems. Small platforms long thought dead began flickering. Power grids stabilized themselves, weapon arrays recalibrated, navigation systems awoke, not under command, not perfectly, but instinctively, stubbornly. The Empire's laughter faltered the first time a drone reported a grid anomaly. Then another. Fleet sensors confirmed its systems across forgotten human colonies were responding. Adaptation, evolution, survival, without orders, without oversight, Without care for alien rules, the Council grew uneasy, still. They tried to maintain control. They assumed their fleet could contain the disturbance. Even as Karos warned them that what they were seeing was not predictable. "It is human," he said, "and that is enough." Aliens did not understand. Humans were too primitive, too weak. The galaxy had grown too confident. It assumed the eternal present meant victory, that the future could be written without emotion, without pain, without stubbornness, and yet the human remained alive, alone in a fragile station, surrounded by systems that should not have worked, powering machines thought dead, connecting networks thought broken. The Council sent fleets to test him, to see if the human could survive. A strike, firing pulses across the asteroid field surrounding the station, expecting collapse, silence, confirmation of their superiority. The human did not collapse. He did not die. He adapted, systems rerouted, energy redirected, damage absorbed, corrected, ignored, pain registered, but it became fuel. Suffering became power, and somewhere in the void, the response began to ripple. Other human systems, scattered and lost for centuries, flickered awake, their signals faint but present, not attacking yet, but learning, listening, connecting. The Council realized something impossible. This was not a malfunction, not a glitch, not random noise. Humans were not weak. They were relentless, unpredictable, survivors in a way the galaxy had never calculated. Karos felt the fear in the Empire's data streams. The same fear he had felt when his own world was erased, but now it had grown, focused, spreading. The galaxy laughed at the human, and the laughter began to die at that moment. The human looked up from the consoles, a small, fragile figure. In a room built by long-dead engineers, eyes fixed on nothing and everything, and somewhere deep in the shadows of the archive, something ancient stirred, responding, not a weapon, not an army, but something that had waited for this moment. The human's pulse synchronized with systems long forgotten. And in that silent station, the galaxy began to realize it had made a terrible mistake. Cliffhanger. The first human-controlled signal reached deep into forbidden space. And something was answering, alive, aware, and hungry. The signal spread across the void, faint at first, like a whisper in the dark, then louder, stronger, resonating through broken systems the galaxy had long forgotten. Human machines began to rise, not with precision, not with clean order, but with stubborn will. Old fleets, long abandoned, ancient weapon platforms, and ruined colonies flickered to life. Their engines groaned, shields hummed, and weapons recalibrated, all guided not by programming alone, but by human memory, human pain, and human refusal to die. Karos watched from the observation deck, fear growing in him. The fragile human relic at the center of it all was still alive, still standing. Pain twisted his body, but his mind remained clear. Every loss recorded, every failure remembered, each scar a lesson, each wound a weapon. The human had learned to convert suffering into strength, and now the galaxy would feel it. The Alien Council had underestimated everything. They had laughed at a single human. They had ignored the warning signs in the archives. They had treated pain as weakness, but humans turned it into power, and now nothing in the galaxy could match their stubborn will. The void, the ancient force that had erased entire worlds, approached the outer colonies of the Empire. Fleets were immobilized, defenses failing, fear spreading faster than orders could be given. The human relic activated a network of dormant human war machines. Ships long thought destroyed lifted from their graves. Platforms that had rusted for centuries repaired themselves with ingenuity that defied alien logic. Every human system that awakened learned, adapted, and improved faster than the Empire could respond. The Council scrambled fleets, but human tactics were unlike anything they had prepared for. Humans did not retreat, did not surrender. they absorbed. Damaged to create openings, they sacrificed ships to save lives and lives to save fleets. Where aliens calculated odds, humans refused to stop. Where aliens feared loss, humans turned it into opportunity. Kairos realized then what the Council never had. Humanity's greatest weapon was not technology. It was emotion, memory, and stubborn survival. The human relic at the core of the network became a living anchor. Pain and suffering feeding strategy, fear turned into focus, grief turned into coordination. Death was not an end, but a lesson. The void recoiled, confused, as if it had never encountered such resilience. Alien fleets faltered under the assault of adaptive human machines. Systems evolved mid-battle, recovering from hits that should have destroyed them. Weapons fired with imperfect but deadly accuracy. Shields rerouted power in impossible patterns. The universe had never seen such persistence, and it could not comprehend it. The climax hit like a tidal wave. The void retreated. Fleets that had been unstoppable now shattered. The empire was broken, humiliated, but still standing, and humans, so weak and insignificant in the galaxy's eyes, had survived. They had not only endured, they had dominated, all because they refused to give up. Kairos watched as the human relic, trembling and in pain, stood in the center of a station that should have been dead centuries ago, yet it was alive, guiding the rebirth of an entire network. The galaxy's perception of humans began to shift, from irrelevant, weak and fragile, to unstoppable, unpredictable, and terrifying, but victory came at a cost. Systems were damaged, lives were lost. The human relic's body weakened under the strain. Yet in the heart of the shattered archive, the first seeds of human revenge and survival had been planted, and the galaxy, for the first time, realized that humans were not to be ignored. Cliffhanger. Somewhere, deep in the forbidden regions of space, another human signal answered the call, older, larger, and more dangerous than anything the galaxy had ever feared. The humans were awakening, and the universe had no idea what was coming next. The void had receded, leaving silence in its wake. Stars slowly returned to their courses, fleets limped back to base, and broken colonies flickered with life. The empire was shaken, its confidence shattered. No one had expected the humans to survive, let alone fight back. Kairos drifted among the remnants of the human archive. The fragile human relic stood in the center, barely able to hold himself upright. Pain twisted his body, but his eyes were steady, burning with stubborn clarity. He had survived, guided fleets, and awakened machines the galaxy had forgotten. And now, the galaxy had to acknowledge what it had ignored for centuries. Humans were not weak. Humans were not extinct. Humans did not surrender. The Council convened in emergency sessions. New protocols were drafted, not to destroy, but to respect. The galaxy's history was rewritten quietly. Humans were no longer a footnote or a relic. They were classified as inevitable, a species not to be cornered or mocked. Every archive now carried a warning. Never underestimate humanity. Kairos watched the human relic connect to the network one last time. Old systems, war machines, and dormant fleets sensed briefly, not to attack, not to conquer, but to remind the galaxy. Humans survive, they endure, and they never give up. The Empire attempted to study them scientifically, to understand how pain and memory could override technology. But humans were not predictable, not bound by logic, not controlled by data. They learned, adapted, and evolved in ways no alien mind could anticipate. In the aftermath, trade resumed slowly, colonies rebuilt, yet everywhere, fleets and governments kept a new rule in mind. Respect humans, do not provoke them, do not erase them. The human relic, finally alone, leaned against a console, a smile faint on his face. He had survived countless disasters.